Okay, people. So now it is, kind of echoing in this corner here. This is that computer that I bought at the thrift store. Remember I told you? I guess this is War Room 3. My kitchen table. Anyway, do you see what's going on here? I actually made a PDF file with this program that's on this computer. I'm pretty sure that's what I did. PDF files I can upload to my website. If I can actually make a PDF file, people, that is uploadable, then it will be easier for me if and when I have time, because it always boils down to time. And my eyesight, because you don't know how my eyes are wigging out right now, okay? They're wigging. First of all, this screen is very bright. I don't know how to make it not so bright right now. I don't want us to start poking on buttons tomorrow in the daylight. I'll see what I can do. But in the meantime, I'm just testing to see what this has. And this program that I'm using, just remember I can't see, okay, is LibreOffice Writer. And I'm using an old flash drive with Uncle John's stuff on there. You can see this, okay. What's happening here, people? I'm using my old glasses, okay? My prescription glasses that, I don't know. Because I can't really see the computer screen with my dollar store glasses, because this computer screen, first of all, is like extremely bright. It's big, but for whatever reason, the print is too big. And I can't at this point figure out how to bring the whole resolution down. So it's just hard on my eyes. But if I can make a PDF, I mean, you upload PDFs onto computers, right? Onto websites, right? That's better than, like, if you do Google Documents, I don't know if you can upload a PDF onto Google Documents. You can upload scanned page by page by page, and then you upload page by page by page, and it takes up the bandwidth, the space, whatever it is. But a PDF goes up as one file, but a PDF seems to be bigger than an OTS file. Oh God. Anyway, I want to read this to you, assuming that I can see it. Because this one is for the legal basis for CIBC Bank amended of notice of civil claim, because when I went to court with Fraser Health Authority, you know, the judge gave me that one freebie to amend my 187-page notice of civil claim, and he wanted it down to 20 pages, as he was mocking me, saying that I wrote too much, and that, you know, and being that they did that with Fraser Health, I just took it upon myself to amend the CIBC Bank at the same time. Okay? Now you have to remember, I've never gone to court with CIBC Bank because there was just too much shady shit going on, and I wasn't going to show up to court for the shenanigans, for them to throw it out of court like they did with Uncle John, because they never dealt with Uncle John with Fraser Health Authority because the judge never did his job. Okay? This is what basically the judge considered to be frivolous, because it's almost the same in terms of the criminal activity between the two corporations and what they did and how they did it in order to medically kidnap Uncle John and steal his assets, basically. Right? And a lot of this falls under the Criminal Code of Canada. So this is part 3, the legal basis. Now you have to remember, I don't know how to write a lawsuit, right? Never wrote one, never really read one, you know, none of that, okay? So I did the best that I could, and I spent a lot of time with it in War Room 1, so much so that it deteriorated my eyes, okay? But besides that point, I'm going to try and read what I can for a little bit. This is part 3, legal basis. 1, various human right violations and basic human liberties were violated under the Charter of Human Rights and Freedoms. Okay, so I brought that up. Right? 2, Mr. John Duncan gave principal consent to Judy Chorney over the course of 25 years and actively participated in all household decisions and other standards of practice of living as equality is equity, and was the basis for Mr. John Duncan's and Judy Chorney's long-lasting relationship, where between both of them, Mr. Duncan had an equal say in all major decisions, just as equity looks on that as done which ought to be done, in reference to a mutual agreement or contract between Mr. John Duncan and Judy Chorney in favor of those persons having the right to enforce that contract or agreement. Uncle John and I had a long-term relationship, people. It was our right to go get a lawyer, okay? It wasn't the right of Fraser Health Authority to illegally drug John, put him in a hammock, and then ship him off to Victoria so that the people who took him can say that's how they found him. Okay? And then put his life at risk to death, because that's basically what they did. And in order for them not to get caught, they wouldn't allow him to see the kids. Have that on recording with his sister telling him that he's not allowed to see the kids because he wasn't better yet. He was fine on the 17th of February. They took him on the 21st or the 22nd or something like that, because I was there on the 19th, people, and John told me to go get a lawyer, and they were spying on us, which under their mandates on a provincial level is illegal to do. No justice, no peace. So, right from the beginning, the relationship that I had with John should have been acknowledged for what it was. And the court ignored it because they were covering up illegal activity within the public union sector, to which equity will not suffer a wrong to be without a remedy. There is no remedy yet, people. Uncle John is not at peace, and neither is my family. Okay? In reference to a wrong will go unaddressed if the courts are able to remedy it. The court is able to remedy it by holding those who committed crimes to account and paying restitution where restitution is due in relation to harm and injury because of the acts of the public union sector. Okay? Judy Chorney has legally held enduring or continuing power of attorney for an uninterrupted duration of 25 years with the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce and with Mr. John Duncan, and continues to do so unless otherwise directed by the Supreme Court of Canada, because neither Fraser Health Authority or CIBC Bank took me to court. They didn't even go to the public guardian and trustee so that they could take me to court to remove me of my enduring and power of attorney. I had 2 power of attorneys, people. That's why when they were doing what they were doing with Uncle John, right, and I was dealing with the bank trying to, figure out what the fuck was going on, they kept saying, oh, well, if you can go to the doctor and go get a letter where it states that he's confused, and if you can do that, then you'll have access, back to the way it was with John's account so that you can, take care of business. And then I'd call back again, and then he switched the script. Oh, I spoke to the lawyers, and they want a letter from the doctor saying that he's not confused. That's because I had 2 different powers of attorney, people. And as that was going on, his sister was signing herself on as power of attorney and enduring power of attorney, okay, behind closed doors, as she was bringing in an inheritance that she never told her brother about until he was under drugs and locked away like a dirty secret. And because she worked with the province as a manager with the immunization program within the public union sector, the public union sector protected her criminal activity, knowing that if she got away with it, they could do whatever the fuck they wanted to do, as they are doing now. As they're doing now to tens of thousands of old people locked away like dirty secrets. Okay? Going too fast. Bank of Commerce and with Mr. John Duncan, and continues to do so unless otherwise directed by the Supreme Court of Canada. So that enduring power of attorney and that power of attorney is still in effect, and it requires John's signature. Okay, even though he's been dead since 2018, it still requires John's signature to do something with the account of Andre. Not to mention Shimei's trust fund that we started when she was born, basically. We started it when she was born, people. She died when she was 22. That trust fund should be putting money in it every month until 2032, okay? They took John, they locked me out of the account, but I could still do deposits. I could still get freaking bank statements, right? I could do those things because they never canceled my authority. They just locked me out of it through trickery. Have that documented. Actually documented. They used one teller to do it, and it took them 3 times to fucking do it. But each time it was her signature because she knew what she was doing when she kicked out my card at the direction of CIBC Bank management people. Okay? I'm still with that bank. I call up the bank for this, that, whatever. Oh, well, thank you for being a 30-year customer with us. Right? And I'm like, yeah, okay. If they start asking me stupid questions, get me going on about Uncle John, by the time I'm done talking to whoever I'm fucking talking to, I hang up the freaking phone. Now when I phone him, I say, look, this is all I want. Don't ask me nothing. Don't ask me no questions, right? Just give me what I want, and I'm getting off the phone. Because it's not that fucking simple. It's not, oh, you've been a good customer for 30 years. Yeah, I'll show you a good customer. I'm still fighting for Uncle John. Because what that bank did to this family is pathetic, people. They had a hand in the death of my daughter by simply through their negligence and putting her into that deep depression that she went through with Andre when Andre was taken. Through that deep depression, seeing her sister get better after she had Andre. And then the social worker came in and fucking kicked Sierra out. And then Sierra turned into a junkie. You don't think that didn't affect Shimei? Yeah, it did, people. And then to turn around and lose Uncle John in the manner that she lost him? Okay, people. No wonder why she made bad choices in men, people. Well, man, people. Maybe if John's sister would have done the right thing, okay, and gave John his inheritance, maybe Shimei would have went to fucking school and would have been a nurse. And would be looking after Uncle John right now, and he'd still be alive. Has anyone ever thought about that? But you see, that wasn't the agenda. They didn't care if John lived until he was 95 years old. If he lived to 80, so be it. That was enough for them because they got what they fucking wanted. We wanted John to live until he was 95. They wanted him to live just until they could steal his money, people. And once they got the money, he didn't live much longer after that. And he died an old, broken old man. And he's waiting. He's waiting for his family to show up wherever the frick he is with Shimei. Because he's with Shimei, people. When I burst Shimei went straight into Uncle John's arms. Straight into his arms as soon as she was born. They showed me to her. I said, oh my God, she looks like me. And then they gave her to Uncle John. Because he was there. He was so proud. But his sister was so jealous and spiteful and resentful. And selfish and greedy. And now my daughter is dead because of her fucking greed. Because she's the epitome of what is right in society. She's a government worker. You know how that goes. Under the Power of Attorney Act of 1996, Chapter 370, in regards to effect of termination, Section 4, no legal or binding contract to terminate Judy Chorney, the attorney, okay, that's what they classify you as a power of attorney, right? With having enduring power of attorney was made between Mr. Duncan or any other person, including Eleanor Diane Gilding, hence a one signature note, because she mailed me a little fucking note in the mail after she had John over in Victoria, after she committed fucking mail fraud, people. Literally committed fucking mail fraud as he was sitting up in that temporary care home. She put in a change of address so that she was hoping that she'd get a bank statement. She didn't get a bank statement, but what she did get is she got his freaking credit card statement. And as soon as she got the credit card statement, she had a means to locate his bank, call up the bank, accuse me of stealing his money after fucking 35 fucking years with him living with me for 23, okay? And then, oh, but don't worry, I got $300,000 superannuation life insurance inheritance that I'm sitting on. I just didn't tell John about it for 14 months because God forbid if we let Judy get her little grubby fucking hands on it. So we just didn't tell John. But we're telling you now, the bank, okay? You lock her out, you make it so that she can't do nothing, and we'll deposit that money into CIBC Bank. And they did, people. They opened up a registered savings plan, okay? And they started with putting in their little 500 here and 500 there from his pensions. And then she turned around and she fucking filled it up with whatever it was that he fucking inherited that she never ever told him about, people, until he was all drugged up and practically dead. can I go to my grave knowing what I know without standing strong against the bullshit in society being fed to us by professionals? Or any other person, including Eleanor. Hence, a one-signature note evoking Judy Chorney of enduring power of attorney, signed by Eleanor Gilding, is not a legal document under Section 16 of the Power of Attorney Act. Okay? Judy Chorney under Section 22. Do you honestly think me going with what I'm writing here, I'm only on the first page here, people. Okay, and this is a watered down version. This is the watered down version, is down to like 19 pages, 18 pages, compared to 167 pages, the original. Okay? Because they don't like to fucking think. Right? They don't like to do their job, these fucking lawyers and judges, and they're not there to do justice. That's not what their positions are in life. Okay? They're the ones that try to hide the dirt of the real fucking criminals in the community. Judy Chorney under Section 22 of the Power of Attorney Act is not liable for the misconduct of CIBC Bank or Fraser Health Authority and their agents or staff, as provisions of good faith were in place under Section 19 of the Act. Okay? Now, under my original notice of civil claim, I would have wrote out what under Section 19 is. This is why I want to learn how to do a fucking PDF, because once I can figure out how to do a PDF, people, and get it up online as a whole fucking document and one swat versus page after page after page after page, right, in terms of doing it that way, if I can just upload it into one PDF file where it just goes up on the internet, you can access it. And if you don't know what Section 19 is under this act or that act, I'll write it out. I wrote it out. I wrote it out as plain as fucking day, so that there is no denying about what I was making allegations towards or what my facts were, people. I wanted the judge to be reminded. I didn't expect him to take it as gospel, because obviously he's going to go back in his chambers and he's going to look it up, and cross-reference and make sure that I got it right. And he'd find out that I did get it fucking right, because I took fucking months to do it, people. And I didn't want to appear stupid in court when it came time to be, under Section 19. Well, hold on a minute, Your Honor. I got to go into Section 19 under the Power of Attorney Act. Hold on, Your Honor. I got to go into this part of the section of the criminal code. I made it so that we could just get on with it. Okay? And if anyone questioned what was written there, it wouldn't be that hard to cross-reference it, because it was it's just whatever. Whatever, people. It's a fucking joke. It's not liable for the misconduct. Okay. 6. Under Section 33, 4, C, and D of the Power of Attorney Act, Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce failed to make application to the court. They failed to do that, people. Okay? They were just shenaniganing around, making backroom fucking deals. Okay? For direction on the suspension or termination of Judy Chorney, the attorney, and the position she holds as the enduring or continuing power of attorneys. Well, I just said attorney there, right? Okay. 7. Under Section 34, 1, 2, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 3A, B, C, D, E, F of the Power of Attorney Act, under the original notice of civil claim, I would have typed out all those little sections so that you could read it, so that by the time you got to under the Power of Attorney Act, the public guardian and trustee failed to make application to the court for. Okay, so not only did CIBC Bank fail to do it, but the public guardian and trustee failed to do it, people. Because they thought I was fucking dumb and stupid, right? Because I'm poor, people. That's what it was, people. That's why they did it, people. Because they're professionals. That's what they get paid to do, is exploit poor people. Right? They don't care who the fuck they hurt, as long as they can get what they want. So they can run around in society bragging how they work for the fucking government and how fucking rich they are. Well, I got a superannuation. I earned it. Yeah, we know how you fucking earned it. You fucking stole it. That's how you earned it. Because the one who earned it, Uncle John, he forfeited on it to prevent what happened to him. And it happened to him anyway because of greed, people. And it wasn't just greed from his sister. It was his whole fucking family across the boat over on that side. Over the water. And it was the bank. It was all those fucking employees that were being bought and bribed with in the fucking hospital, in the care facility, in the fucking hospital in Victoria, and anywhere else that they took John. Direction of the suspension or termination of Judy Charney, the attorney, and the position she holds as the enduring or continuing power of attorney. Under the Power of Attorney Act, Chapter 370, in regards to Section 36, Court Directions and Orders, Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce failed to make an application to the court under 1A and B and 2, 5A, B, C, 1, 2, 6A, B. I so hope I can make a PDF file with this freaking program, people. Because if I can make a fucking PDF file, 160 pages big, okay, and upload it all at one time, trust me, I will find a place to upload it so that I can link it in and you can read it for yourself, and you can then ask yourself, how the fuck did the court consider me to be frivolous and scandalous and a waste of their time? Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce failed to protect Mr. John Duncan's personal banking information because they allowed a snake to get in there and steal it. Okay? And his property by allowing Eleanor Gilding to revoke the existing enduring power of attorney on file at CIBC Bank without a court order. Even Eleanor didn't take me to court, people. She thought I would take her to court. That's what, when I went to go to the pro bono, right, and they sent me to that lawyer after they fucked me around for a little while, and then that lawyer sat up there and basically accused me of being some hussy for the first 15 minutes in our 30-minute fucking session, because I was only allowed 30 minutes. And then after he finished insulting me, right, and accused me of shit, right, then he said, well, what you need to do is forget the lawsuit and go take it to court with Eleanor. I said, no, you don't think I didn't think about that crap? Yeah, that was the move that they were hoping that I was going to play, people. That's why they brought in some fucking lawyer to fucking accuse me of this, insult me, and then say, well, go take Eleanor to court because, you know, and then you can go sue the government if you want. No. It is the government's responsibility to protect the fucking public, okay? Obviously, the government is involved. They're not protecting the public, because if they're protecting the public, my story with my family as a whole would be completely different than what it is. Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce failed to protect Mr. John Duncan's personal banking information and his property by allowing Eleanor Gilding to revoke the existing enduring power of attorney on file at CIBC without a court order or without an official investigation registered with the public guardian and trustee. If she really felt that I was just going around stealing John's fucking money all that time, all those years, she should have taken it to the public guardian and trustee and asked them to do a fucking an investigation on me. And if that was the case, why didn't she do that in the 20-year fucking period when he lived with me, if she felt that that's what I was doing, people? Right from the get-go, I read to you at the very top of that of this amendment, the relationship that I had with Uncle John, to which everybody who was stealing his money completely ignored. John was an equal. You think I got this far in fucking life mentoring myself? Huh? When it comes to this kind of stuff? Hell no, I had John in the background. You can do it, Judy, don't worry. (11) Through the neglect of Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce for not filing for an investigation with the public guardian and trustees. So not only did Eleanor could have done it, but CIBC Bank should have done it if they were interested in protecting his money, right? Or for not making an application to the court to revoke, because they had an alternative. They didn't have to go to the public guardian and trustee. They could have simply just went to the court. They didn't. Why, people? Why? Because they thought I was fucking dumb. And I would just stand back and take their hits without fighting back, okay? To revoke the existing enduring power of attorney, CIBC jeopardized any future attempt by Judy Chorney to have the public guardian and trustee investigate ethically, okay, and fairly the matter of Mr. John Duncan being illegally detained by Fraser Health Authority and its staff. The public guardian and trustee, when officially requested by Judy Chorney in July of 2015 for an investigation, it was denied by the public guardian and trustee. In other words, they should have done it if they were, since they were the ones accusing me of all this, and that was their means to do what they did, because ultimately they knew they were going to get paid big time with that inheritance money that was directly related to government life insurance policies and whatever other policies Joan had, okay? Because Joan was always dying. But besides that point, Paul, my lawyer at the time with Andre and whatever, or yeah, it was, you know, I had Andre, and then this happened with John, and John wanted me to get Paul, right? So I called up Paul, and I was talking to Paul about this off and on, and he told me to make, you know, to put an application in for an investigation. So I wrote it out, people. I had Paul fucking go over it. I submitted it. I called because they never called me back to let me know. And when I called, they told me that they weren't going to investigate, that it was fucking denied. Because they're involved too, even though on their little website they say they're at arm's length, they're not connected to the fucking government, even though I think somewhere in there, I think they do get a little bit of subsidy from the government just to maintain the status quo, okay? Right? They didn't investigate me. They didn't use, that's what the public guardian and trustee is there for, right? CIBC Bank didn't access it. Right? Eleanor didn't fucking access it because they're doing their backroom deals. When I went to go access it, I was denied. Okay? (12) Under the Patient Property Act, now we're getting into a different legislation. Chapter 349. Mr. John Duncan was neither patient described with a mental infirmity arising from a disease, age, because you see, again, they played a double hand. Sometimes he was confused, sometimes he wasn't. When they wanted to deem him as, oh, he's confused, right? It was to, you know, prevent him from doing things in terms of coming home, that kind of stuff, right? And there's only certain ways that government agency workers, those kind of people, right, they can take away people's rights, right? And so therefore they couldn't keep John completely confused 24/7, because if they kept him confused on the books in writing, in their files 24/7, being completely confused, then clearly he was disabled, and he would have had to have somebody appointed, whether through court or whatever, right? Not that I didn't exist, but besides that point. So, they needed to make it look like there was times in there where he wasn't confused, so that when he signed his signature to sign over his assets, because he was locked under lock and key in a different fucking city, in complete shock, had almost a nervous breakdown. They've been drugging him for fucking 2 months, right? They whisked him off in the middle of the night. He woke up into, oh my God, where's the kids? I want the kids. And you can't see the kids. You're not well. Don't, shut up. Here, go to sleep, right? Got his sister on the freaking phone talking to Shimei how John was sleeping, and they weren't even fucking sure if he was gonna make it, people, after they fucking took him. But yet sat up there and said, well, that's how we found him. That's why we took him to the emergency room in fucking Victoria General as soon as they got off the ferry. You found him like that at that temporary fucking care ward, right? I guess he wasn't confused that day, though, right? That day he wasn't, or was he confused? Which one was it? Oh, no, he was confused. But as soon as, he calmed down and they got him all drugged out, maybe gave him some fucking shock therapy just to calm him down, because that's what they like to do at the Victoria General. They like to give the old people fucking shock therapy so they forget their past, and they're just docile, complicit. Yeah, okay, you want me to sign here? I'm not confused today. I know how to sign my signature, so yeah, I'll just sign it for you. And then those fucking criminals just go off and do what the fuck they want. Okay? So understand what I'm reading here. Under the Patient Property Act, Chapter 349, Mr. John Duncan was neither patient described with a mental infirmity arising from a disease, age, or otherwise making him incapable of managing his own affairs, where a certificate was signed by a director of the provincial mental health facility or psychiatrist unit as defined in the Mental Health Act, or a person who was declared incapable under this act by a judge. Section 19 and 19(1) of the Patient Property Act is non-applicable while Judy Chorney continues to hold enduring power of attorney over the bank account of Mr. John Duncan as Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce. In other words, they didn't take John through the Patient Property Act as a fucking mental incompetent patient. Okay? They just didn't do it, because if they would have done that, people, it all would have had to gone through the public guardian and trustee. It would have had to eventually be in front of a judge. There would have had to been signing doctors. You know what I'm saying? All that would have had to happen first before they could completely remove me from having power of attorney. But they didn't do it, because they needed him to be competent to say, yeah, you can take my life insurance money that I inherited from Joan Duncan, and you can put it over here. And then, I'm getting old, and yeah, I want to leave it to the kids. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to talk about the kids now, because there are no kids, because I'm not allowed to see them, because I'll never get better, because that's what my sister tells me and every other fucking healthcare staff that I come into contact, that I'll never get fucking better. So we'll just leave it to Debbie Duncan, and we'll leave it to my sister Eleanor, and we'll leave it to my brother, right? Do you understand? And they still locked him up, people. Put him in a fucking old folks home and left him there. Visited him once in a blue moon. Until he died. Alone. Without the kids. 13. Under the Adult Guardianship Act, in Section 3, presumption of capability. 1. Until the contrary is demonstrated, every adult is presumed to be capable of making decisions about the adult's personal care, health care, and financial affairs. right? It goes back to, well, he's confused today, tomorrow he's not. Because they got him where they want him. When they don't got him where they want him, he was confused. But in the end, he wasn't confused when he signed over his money. Even though he was locked away like a dirty secret and had been drugged illegally for months and was basically medically kidnapped in the middle of the night. And almost died as a result of that. Capable of making decisions about the adult's personal care, health care, and financial affairs. 2, an adult's way of communicating with others is not grounds deciding that he or she is incapable of making decisions about anything referred in subsection 1, to which, while in the care of Fraser Health Authority, Mr. Duncan told their agents that Judy Chorney had enduring power of attorney to manage his affairs until such time Mr. Duncan simply disappeared under suspicious circumstances that CIBC Bank failed to heed. Because I asked them to investigate, and they refused, right? Because they knew they were going to get a whole whack of fucking money after the deal was done, right? 14, Yale Road Center, located in Surrey, BC, a licensed adult residential care unit, did not follow through on a proper care plan for Mr. John Duncan. They had him on an end of life plan, people. Okay? John Duncan, that under the Community Care and Assisted Living Act, and I read these acts, people. Okay? Don't think I didn't fucking read all these acts and legislations that I'm quoting here. Okay? Because I did. Residential care, section 73, 74, 75 is mandated by law. Well, I'd have to go into those sections, pull them out, and read them, unless, of course, I can figure out how to make a PDF file, copy the original fucking notice of claim, even though it's faulty. I gave it my best shot, people, in terms of giving the judge the information that I felt that the judge needed in order to do his job correctly. Right? You know? I gave him the meat. But I guess I was dealing with a fucking vegetarian that liked to eat freaking grass. "15. Mr. John Duncan may have not been physically restrained with straps to a bed. But for all we know, there could have been times when he was and we just didn't know, right? But any form of opiate medication would have had adverse effects on Mr. Duncan, to which, with his personal mail being redirected through Canada Post beginning on February 4th, okay? It was a few days after they transferred him from the Surrey Memorial Hospital to this old Yale fucking care home. Well, not a care home. It was a temporary care facility under the premise that they were going to give him extra physio. No, they were not giving him extra physio, people. They were plotting and scheming behind our backs to figure out how they could get his fucking banking information so that they could fucking contact the bank and let the bank know that John was sitting on all this fucking money and they didn't want him to go home and spend it by himself with his family, people. Okay? That's why he canceled his superannuation life insurance policy at 65. I can't stress it enough. As a matter of fact, I am so glad that John did that, because it proves, people, that he never trusted his fucking family. Because if he trusted his family, people, he would have kept paying into it. But he knew his family would try and do something stupid like this because they had already done it before with his other family member, like his mother. His mother was fucking locked up in an old folks home. They left her to fucking sit there and fucking rot. Oh, I'm sorry, it was Joan's mother. It was Joan's mother. He didn't want to be like Joan's mother, sitting in a care home. The only people who went to go visit Joan's mother was Joan and John. Those other ones never fucking did. But somebody in his family was going around trying to steal other people's life insurance policies. That's why he canceled his people. Because he knew. And this proves it. Because they did it anyway. And they were hoping that he'd have one. But he's rolling around in his grave right now, fucking laughing at them. Saying, you got caught. Why do you think he was with me and not them, people? Because they never fucking cared about him. Who cared about him was the kids. And me. We're the ones who looked after him. We're the ones who always made sure he was safe. Not them. They left him fucking to deal with Joan by himself. As if he could deal with a mental patient by himself, blind as a bat with bad legs, for any fucking length of time. I'm so glad he canceled that life insurance policy, people. He really did the right thing. Because it exposes the government workers for what they really are. Okay? Like I said, Uncle John was smart. He knew what he was doing. He fucking knew what he was doing, okay? And when he canceled his life insurance policy at 65, he said, no, Judy, I'm not paying into it. My family will just make your life miserable. They'll just come in and try and fucking steal it and cause nothing but trouble. I said, okay, John, if that's what you want, no problem. We love you for you. You know, we don't have you around for a superannuation life insurance policy. And we sure in hell didn't come out of the fucking woodwork just looking for it, right? And you know what I'm saying? When he ended up at the hospital, they came out like bats out of hell, people. But they were already sitting on a life insurance policy through Joan with that inheritance that they did not tell him about. They just thought that they were going to win the lottery big time with his superannuation, but he didn't have one. Unless of course they got into, you know, their fucking internal files and switched up on his, you know, his cancellation and all this other crap and, you know, committed further fraud just to make it happen. I could see that fucking happening. But I don't know about that. That's something for the government to fucking figure out. They should be investigating to see if somebody tried to do that. Oh, John was a retard and he didn't know what he was doing. And here, if it's $40 for a month for the superannuation life insurance policy, and he was 65 and he lived till he was, well, you know, 76 until we got him, you know, that's how many years? That's 11 years times $40. Okay, so per month, I don't know what the numbers are, but you know, if they could send a fucking bribe in, well, we'll give you $50,000 if you fucking tweak the files, right? Make it so that it looks like he's been paying all these years. Just, you know, change a few numbers, and we'll give you $50,000 while the government pays out another $400,000, right? Do you see how easy it is to make a $350,000 fucking dollar profit just by tweaking files? And these people are so corrupt, I could see them fucking trying to do it. $50,000 investment to make $400,000, okay? You would think that the government would want to know. But you see, the government doesn't care because they're all like birds of a feather. They're pretty much all the same. That's what they live for, right? No integrity, absolutely none. And what, you know, it just makes me wonder what makes them think that they're so fucking safe. Right? If they do it to one, they're going to do it to all, people. If they do it to themselves, like they did, you know what I'm saying, right? Right? You know, Eleanor working for the government, so-and-so working for the government, John worked for the government, Joan worked for the government, right? So, and they're stealing from each other. What makes them think that when their time comes, they're not somebody that's going to come in and fucking do what they did to Uncle John? right? They're locking up old people all over the place. These, what, Eleanor's going to be safe from being locked up? Why? Because what makes her so fucking special? Why is she not going to be treated differently? Right? I don't get it. It's like they live for the moment. It's like being a junkie. You're addicted to that money, and you'll do anything to get that fucking money just so that you can remain high. In terms of a junkie, that is, right? But I'm so glad he canceled his superannuation life insurance policy at age 65, people, because it just really blows these people right out of the fucking water. All of them. All of them. With his personal mail being redirected through Canada Post beginning on February 4th of 2015 by an unknown third-party person without Mr. Duncan's knowledge or to the knowledge of Judy Chorney, the attorney. The benefit to keep Mr. Duncan medicated, because that's what they were doing, right? From the onset of arriving at Yale Road Center shows motive with intent to either restrain or detain for the purpose to defraud him of his money. CIBC ignored this as their staff accused the plaintiff of elder abuse, so that CIBC could remove the attorney from accessing enduring power of attorney so that the plaintiff could continue with Mr. Duncan's wishes and or requests. He told me to go get a lawyer. I have it online, up on YouTube. 16. Case law for reference. Now, I don't know anything about case law. I tried to pick something that I thought that maybe could relate, but I never connected with it, people, because this is Uncle John's story and the kid's story. It has nothing to do with what happened way over there, or way over there, or way over there. But I gave it my best shot. Case law for reference: Ogden versus Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, Eagle versus Eagle, whatever. Anyway, 19. Various criminal components resulted from the enactment of dramaturgy actions that were carried out by CIBC employees and by Fraser Health Authority and their agents, who used dramatic forms of narrative, staginess, and other theatrics to distract away from Mr. John Duncan's right to make his own decisions, and were used against Mr. Duncan, Judy Chorney, Sierra Chorney, Marcaine Chorney, Shemaine Chorney, Tisha Chorney, and Andre Chorney as a means to undermine the whole family for the benefit of the actors within their corporations that, under the Criminal Code of Canada, is punishable as an offense by law. 20. Violations committed by CIBC Bank and Fraser Health Authority are. Are you ready? Duties tending to preservation of life. Offenses against persons. 215.1c.12. Duty of persons to provide necessities. 215.2b. Offense. 216. Duty of persons undertaking acts dangerous to life. 217.1, duty of persons directing work. Criminal negligence, offenses against persons, 219, 1AB, criminal negligence. 219, 2, duty. 221, causing bodily harm by criminal negligence. They didn't even, when I went with Fraser Health Authority and the judge asked Andrew the Dragon, the lawyer for Fraser Health Authority, where Uncle John was, he said he didn't know. He didn't want to know. He knew, people. He was just there to cover it up. Bodily harm and acts and omissions causing danger to the person. Uncle John almost died because of this, people. And in fact, he did die. He lost his whole family in an instant. Okay? He was so distraught when he woke up on the other side that they rushed him to emergency. And they had him in emergency for over a week. As they were calling up Shimei, asking Shimei to start looking around for the superannuation life insurance policy and get his ID from me. Because he was so sick. But that's how they found him. That's how they found him, people. As they were going around accusing me of abusing him, even though he had been in the healthcare system for almost 40 fucking days. Okay? And this is why he canceled his life insurance policy at age 65, because what happens was the government was paying. And then at age 65, he had a choice. He could either continue paying the $40 a month or whatever it was, to keep it going, or he could just stop paying and he wouldn't be covered anymore. He chose just not to pay anymore because he didn't want his family to go in there and fucking rob him in his deathbed and traumatize the kids. He didn't want the kids being traumatized by their greed, people. But they're all government workers, so they think they can just do whatever the fuck they want when they want, and they don't care who they hurt. Bodily harm and acts and omissions causing danger to the person, offenses against persons, 247.1 traps likely to cause bodily harm. Well, when you can't leave any kind of hospital setting because they refuse to let you go, right? And, they're giving you drugs as they're telling you it's just a calcium pill, okay? And they're denying you fucking walkers and all this other shit so that you don't get no physiotherapy. And they keep you in a fucking diaper 24/7 just so that they can wear down your mental health, that kind of shit, right? That's a trap, people. That's nothing more or less than a trap. 24/7-2, bodily harm. 24/7-3, offense relate to place. 247.4, offense related place, bodily harm. Kidnapping, trafficking in persons, hostage taking, and abduction, offenses against persons. 279.1 kidnapping. That's what they did, people. Okay? 1198.12A1B, punishment. 12ABC, subsequent offenses. 2, forcible confinement. That's what they did. 3, non-resistance. Use fence, subsequent offense, firearm, and other weapon. 85.1A.B, using firearm in commission of offense. Because they tried to say that they were going to get the police after me. My lawyer came to me after, not my lawyer, but, the lawyer, Paul, right? And he was trying to find Uncle John, right, after they took him. And anyway, he was going to talk to the social worker and try and figure out what the fuck was going on. Then he came and we met, and Shimei was with me, right? And he was going on about that they were talking about getting me charged, people, for stealing his fucking ID. Okay? They were going to have the police come after me. I said, for what? Because they're accusing you of stealing his ID. Because they were desperate to get his fucking ID, because they're sitting on all that money, people, and they weren't sure if he was going to live or not, because he was so traumatized by it all, right? And they wanted to make sure he got their fucking the superannuation life insurance policy that he held. They didn't want just one inheritance; they wanted that too. So that's their firearm. They used the police to facilitate the threat of police. Right? It's a threat. Okay? Robbery and extortion. Subsequent offense to 279.1. Rights of property. 3441. A1, 2A, 1B. Robbery. They committed robbery, people. Okay? Right? Can't say it enough. 11A, 12, A1B. Extortion. Right? Okay? Kidnapping, trafficking in persons. They trafficked him, people. Okay? Hostage taking, that's what they did. That's what you do, right? You don't let people, you can't see the kids, you can't talk to Judy. No, you're not allowed, right? You can't go nowhere, you can't leave, but you can sign here. You're not confused if you sign here for us. Sign over your assets, because it's obvious that you're in a bad state. You can't get out of bed. You're stuck in a hospital, and you're in new territory, and you're right. You obviously can't do it for yourself. Judy's not around to help you no more. Oh, you're not confused now, are you? Yeah, you can make that decision, okay. But as soon as you want to see the kids, you can't fucking see them because you're confused now? Okay. 27901. 1AB, trafficking in persons. 2, consent. 27902, material benefit. 27903, withholding or destroying documents. That's what they were doing with the fucking bank. They were not only withholding the fucking documents, because when I asked them to give me photocopies of the enduring power of attorney, they told me to go get a lawyer. I only got that copy fucking months and months and months and months later, and that was through a decent bank manager. One guy who fucking actually had some ethics about himself and did the right thing. Otherwise, I wouldn't have it today. And honestly, I think the fucking CIBC bank reprimanded him too, people, because when I went and talked to the CIBC bank freaking lawyer and handed him the notice of civil claim, right, he asked me how I even had power of attorney. I said, well, because I got it from one of your bank. And he's, oh, who? And I'm like, well, I don't know. So he went to go figure out who did it, and I bet you that fucking guy got into trouble for it. Yeah. Because just like when they used that one teller 3 different times to kick out the cards, because they never removed me legally out of being able to access the account. The only way they could remove me from accessing the account was to kick out the cards, so they fucking got some teller to do it on purpose. And in those days, I was getting photocopies in between. You get it, your card doesn't work, you go hand in your card, you have to sign something, right? They give you a new card. I was asking for the photocopies. I wasn't even thinking of catching the bitch in the act. I just wanted the photocopies. After a while, I was sitting here doing the freaking notice of civil claim. That's when I, started really getting into all the paperwork. That's when I figured it out that they committed fucking fraud with the mail. And then as I was getting into that other paperwork, I'm like, holy damn, now I know what happened, because it's as plain as fucking day. If I go to the bank today, people, hand in my card, ask for a new card, and then sign, they won't give me a photocopy of whatever it was that I fucking signed with the teller's signature on it. They got my fucking account flagged, people. Yeah. And if they give me anything, it's nothing compared to what they gave me before, because they know they got fucking caught with it. Right? It's that paper trail that they don't want, right? Well, I have that paper trail. Defamatory libel offenses against persons, obviously against me. 298.1, definition of defamatory libel. 2, mode of expression. 299, ABC, publishing. Because I work on a nonprofit. I have a foundation. I look like shit. No wonder why the foundation doesn't go anywhere, people, because the government doesn't want it to go anywhere. It represents too much money for people to empower themselves with, so that the community itself is not so dependent on the government, ultimately, in the end. Right? And that's not what they want. They don't want poor people to be empowered, or the working poor, or anybody really for that matter, unless they're fucking crooks. Right? Because it's the crooks that facilitate this kind of shit. Right? In terms of the white-collar criminals and the blue-collar criminals, right? And they exploit the poor criminals, the petty criminals, the street criminals, right? As they exploit them, okay? Harvest them, right? $300, punishment of libel known to be false. 301, punishment for defamatory libel. Propaganda offenses against persons advocating genocide, because what they did is kind of like a form of the killing off of a family, right? Because, they put everybody into depression and God knows what. Definition of consent, definition of identifiable group. My children are of mixed heritage, right? Which puts us as a identifiable group, right? To be genocide, right? And it's working. Shimei is dead. Sierra's dead. Uncle John's dead. Okay? Right? First John, then Shimei, then Sierra. Amari getting injured. Andre injured. Public incitement of hatred. Right? What were they expecting me not to talk about it on YouTube? And by talking about it, all it did was open up hate, right? Like I said, that's when the gang stalking really started on YouTube. I'm pretty sure YouTube staff had something to fucking do with it, right? I got videos in there that's got like 19 fucking thumbs down that came in a space of 24 hours. Because I stood up and fought for Uncle John. Right? Oh, that's okay. That's okay for me to go through that shit. But now that the shoe is on the other foot and the government is up there on YouTube and, they're getting all their thumbs down, what does YouTube do? They turn around and they hide the thumbs down altogether. They hide it now. Right? But they weren't hiding it when it was happening to me. Oh, no. They were thriving off of it, people. Willful promotion of hatred, right? Everything that these corporations did, that's exactly what they did, because they just didn't attack my family. They just didn't attack Uncle John. They attacked everything that we represented, because you have to remember, if it was no Uncle John, there would be no foundation, because I didn't create it by myself. Uncle John mentored me through it. I mean, obviously I did the typing and, did the legwork, did the reading, the writing, and just whatever. But at the end of the day, we talked about it. Right? So they destroyed the foundation through their acts of what they done, through that slandering of my character and my family, including Uncle John. For when he was confused. He was slanderous when he was confused, but he wasn't slanderous when he wasn't. No, he was slanderous when he was confused, but he wasn't slanderous when he wasn't confused, because when he wasn't confused, it was a benefit to them, because they're the ones who made all the money, because they were stealing it from him. Offenses against rights of property. This is all under the Criminal Code of Canada, right? 321, definition. 322, 1A, B, C, theft. 2, time when theft completed. 3, secrecy. 4, purpose of taking. 331, theft by person holding power of attorney. Okay, in that situation, being that Eleanor and the bank took over the power of attorney, they're the ones who committed the fucking theft, not me, people, okay? 332, misappropriation of money held under direction, okay? 334A, punishment for theft. Offenses resembling theft, rights of property. 336, criminal breach of trust. Okay? 337, public servant refusing to deliver property. Okay? They refused. The bank refused. Fraser Health Authority staff refused. They all refused to do their job, people, in terms of a public servant. Okay? 341, fraudulent concealment. Okay, not only did they refuse to do their fucking jobs in the manner that they were mandated to do so, but they also freaking concealed important information which resulted in fraud. Okay? Breaking and entering rights of property. They broke and they entered into his bank account, people. Okay? All right? Property doesn't necessarily have to mean your house. Okay? His property was in the bank. They broke into his bank account, people, by committing fraud, beginning with mail fraud. Fraudulent concealment. 341. Breaking and entering rights of property. 348. 1A, B, E. Breaking and entering with intent, committing offense, or breaking out. They broke in. Okay, with the intent to commit an offense. 2A, presumptions. 3B, definition of place. Okay, right? Definition of place. 350 AB 1-2, entrance. How did they get in? They got in because of mail fraud, people. Okay? 351-1, through that credit card statement. Possession of breaking in instrument. Well, how did they do it? I'd have to think about that one. I can't remember right now. Break-in instrument. Possession of break-in instrument. See, that's where I'd have to read that little section in terms of, and then I could, well, there you go. Anyway, 2, disguise with intent. Okay? Having in possession right of property. 354, 1A, possession of property obtained by crime. 356, 1A, 1B, theft from mail. All right? There you go. 2, allegations of value not necessary. 358, having in possession when complete. 359, 1A, B, evidence. 2B, notice to accused. 342.1, 1A, B, C, unauthorized use of computer. They didn't have the proper authorization to do what they did, people. Okay, John, what was he? I guess he wasn't confused that day when he gave them permission to do what they wanted to do. Not what he wanted to do, but what they wanted to do. He was not confused on that day. But on the day when something needed to be done that he wanted to do and they didn't want to do it, then he was confused. 2, definition. False pretense, right of property. 361, false pretense. 2, exaggeration. 3, question of fact. 362, 1A, B, C, 1, 2, 5, 4, 5, 6, D, false pretense or false statement. Okay? Because they were accusing me of shit, people. Punishment. Item 363, AB, obtaining execution of value security by fraud. Forgery and offense resembling forgery. They committed fucking forgery, okay? Rights of property. 366 1AB, forgery, right? They forged paperwork that wasn't even legitimate, people, because they didn't remove me from a power of attorney or enduring power of attorney in a legal sense. They did everything through fucking backroom shady shit, okay? Kicking out my card with one teller, okay? Through mail fraud, okay? Through cutting fucking deals with, well, if you just do this, you get that, right? In terms of one lump sum coming in. As soon as we, get the lawyer to transfer the fund that's in holding, and we'll just deposit it into the CIBC bank, and we won't touch it. Until they figure out who they're going to divvy it up between themselves. Okay? And then rewrote his will that he has since from 1995. Okay? His original will is here, people, at the house. They needed time to rewrite a new one, which would have resulted as forgery. Okay? Because it was all done under duress. Making false documents. And that's what they did. When forging complete. 4. Forging completed rough through document incomplete. 367 AB, punishment for forgery. Who should get punished for that? Huh? Quite a few people should get punished for that, people. 368 1 A, B, C, D, uttering forged documents. 2. Whenever forged. 372 1, just like those documents with that teller, those three times, they took him 3 times to kick out his card. My card that I had for years and years and years and years and years and years. Through forgery, through one teller. And that's why if I go in and I put my card in and I say it's not working, give me a new card. They give me a new card and I have to sign something. I say I want a photocopy of that. They tell you can't have it. I said, oh, I want a photo. And then they come back with some fucking funky form that you can't distinguish who actually created that transaction because they got caught with that, with what I have, people. So that tells me that they want to continue doing what they do. That they got away with it with Uncle John, and they're doing it with other people. Because they're not holding their fucking staff to account. Right? They're protecting the workers to commit fraud. That's what they're doing, people. So that you can commit forgery. Internally. Drawing documents without authority, except they had no documents, they had no authority to give Eleanor any of that information. Absolutely none. She didn't take me to court. She didn't go to public guardian and trustee. Bank didn't do it either. They had no right to get into John's fucking banking files like that and then just start handing them over to practically a stranger. Just because she called the sister card, she had no real relationship with him. That plays a huge role in all these legislated mandates and criminal codes, but of course they ignored that too, right? Because she was the one sitting on the fucking cash, that's why. Fraudulent transactions, 380, 1A, fraud, 381, 1A, C, D, sentencing aggravated circumstances, 2, non-mitigating factors, 390, B1, 3, fraudulent receipts under Bank Act, 392, so now I'm bringing in the Bank Act, A12B, disposal of property to defraud creditors. They left me because they were out to fucking sink me. It was enough that they injured my family and put them at risk to everything that's happened to them so far. But they also knew I was sitting on a credit card for 19 grand. And I'm only at 17. I'm still at 17,000 with it after all this time, and they took them in 2015. So they got guaranteed income of interest between $200 to $300 a month. All right. Right now it's about 209. My interest is $200 a month, with $17,000 still owing. Right, to keep me poor and frightened, self-doubting myself, under their thumb. Now, where did I read that? I moved this. Disposal of property to defraud creditors. Falsification of books and documents, fraudulent transactions. Any transactions that they did was all fraudulent and it was falsified. 397, 1AB, books and documents. 2, privy. Personization, fraudulent transactions. 403, ABC, personation with intent, because the bank tried to tell me that, or somebody tried to, I don't know, maybe it was Eleanor's daughter talking to Shimei, where they said that John had called while he was on the ferry to the bank or something, or the bank said that. I think the bank said that Mr. Duncan had called them while on the ferry, and told him that let his sister deal with the banking and to lock me out. But yet, he was so sick that when they got to the other side of the ferry from Eleanor's daughter talking to Shimei on the phone, they rushed him off to an emergency at the Victoria General Hospital, where he was there for quite a while and almost died. Okay? But that's how they found him in Vancouver, real sick. And that's why they picked him up in Vancouver and then rushed him off to the Victoria General on a ferry. But yet, he's so sick, he's got time to phone up the bank and tell him that after all these years, fuck Judy, fuck the kids, lock Judy out of my account because I'm going to go be with my sister. And then, as soon as he's off the phone, he crashes to the point where they have to rush him off to emergency. Are you listening to this, people? Because that's basically what happened in terms of the stories that were coming in. Okay? Because I remember speaking on the phone now with somebody with the bank, and they're saying, well, he phoned. Well, no, he didn't fucking phone. He was in a hammock, passed out in the bowels of a fucking ferry. That was Eleanor's husband posing as John. Okay? That's where the person, or maybe it was his brother who did that. It was either his brother who did that, or it was Eleanor's husband who did that. But it sure in the hell wasn't fucking John. And then end up in emergency to the point where he almost dies. Okay, and he's so sick. And he all of a sudden just told everybody, all the kids that he helped raise, to fuck off. Yeah, okay. personation with intent. 405, acknowledgement, instrument in false name. Forgery of trademarks and trade descriptions, fraudulent transactions. Forging trademark. In my opinion, they attacked, they ruined the foundation in part for just making me so scandalous, because it was either say nothing or do something. I chose to do something, and by doing something, right? Just like I choose to do something for Shemaine, look how I'm being made to look scandalous with Julian's sister, right? Anyway, 407, offense. 408, B, 1, 2, 3, passing off. 412, 1AB, punishment. Breach of contract, intimidations, discrimination against trade unionists, fraudulent transactions. 422, 1A, blah, 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 criminal breach of contract. 423, 1A, B, C, D, F, intimidation. 2, exception. Secret commission, fraudulent transactions. 426, 1A, B, 1, 2, 3, secret commissions. 2, privity of offense. 3, punishment. 4, definition of agent and principal. Interpretation, willful and forbidden acts. 428, property. 429, 1, willfully causing events to occur. They willfully did that, people, right? The stakes were high. They had the one guaranteed inheritance from Joan, and they thought that they were going to get a second windfall with the superannuation that they thought John had. But he didn't. Unless, of course, they paid a bribe for somebody to go back into the fucking files and tweak them and make it look like he paid out all those years, so that they could, come out ahead with $400,000, and it only costed them $50,000. The government needs to fucking double check on that shit. Okay? They do. They really do. Because that's how these guys do it, people. They're working in our governments, okay? They're working within the private sector. A bank is like even though it's public, it's a private institution with employees that do as they're told. Mischief, willful, and forbidden acts. 430, 1A, B, C, D, mischief. 1A, B, C, D, mischief in relation to date. 2, punishment. 3A, B, idem. 4A, B, idem. 5.1 AB, offense. Now, do I understand all of this? No, because that's why I wrote everything out, so that when we were in court and we were going through the notice of civil claim, it would be just a matter of go like this, and it would jog my memory, and then I could say, well, this is how it relates, blah, 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 blah. This is how it relates, blah, 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 blah. This is how it fucking relates, blah, 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 blah. And that's why the judge threw it out with Fraser Health Authority, because as soon as I started citing off these fucking sections, not even getting into the details, he got all flustered and realized that he couldn't throw it out, but he sent me to the cops. Stupid shit. Interpretation, proceeds of crime. 462, 3, 1, A, B, definition, proceeds of crime. A, 4, power of attorney, general of a province. Powers of attorney general of a province. In other words, the attorney general could have gotten involved, people, and called an investigation. If the judge wasn't going to do it, the attorney general could have done it. That's why I filed, this time when I filed a lawsuit with with Shemay, I took it to the attorney general and the Solicitor Attorney General, because they have the ability to call investigations. Okay? That's their job. Being that our judges don't do their jobs. Because the judge could have done it. And that's what should have happened. This, what I wrote, should have turned into a criminal case. Offense, proceeds of crime, 462-31, 1A. But instead, they went after Shimei, and then they just really fucking stuck it to me, embalmed her, put her on a bed for 9 days, played their little fucking mindfuckery games, right? And illegally harvested her organs and cashed in on it. And then they fucked me over again with Sierra, played their little fucking mind games, right? You know, protected John Hart behind the door, right? As they're investigating him for suspicious activities, as they're basically mocking my family, what's left of it, in the rain, with a baby-face cop and a masochist and sadistic sadist. Because I won't shut up about this. That's basically what it's about, people. But even if I was to shut up about this, they would still target my family, so, you know. That's how they survive. They can't survive any other way. Offense, proceeds of crime, 462-31. That's how Eleanor got rich. And anybody else that got Uncle John's money through that, well, he said, you can have some. He said, you can have some. He said, you can have some, because we made sure we wrote a new will while he was under duress. Only he wasn't under duress. On the day that he signed it, he was not confused. And then once they got the signature, they doped him up a bit more and kept him fucking confused. Proceeds of crime, 462.311A, laundering proceeds of crime. The bank laundered money with the assistance of Fraser Health Authority staff. 2AB punishment, 3 exception. Conspiracy, attempts, conspiracies. 465, 1B, 2C, D, conspiracies. 467.11 definition. Criminal organization, A, B. It only takes 3 people to create a criminal organization. Understand that. Only 3. We're dealing with more than 3. 2, facilitation. 3, commission of offense. 4, regulations. 467.111, participation in activities of criminal organization. 2B, 2ABC, prosecution. 3, ABCD, factors. 467.12, 1, communications of offense for criminal organization. They were communicating, okay? 2, prosecution. 467.1.13.1, instructing commission of offense for criminal organization. 2, ABC, prosecution, because that's what we're dealing with, okay? Criminal organizations. And that's pretty much it for legal basis for CIBC Bank. Obviously, under Fraser Health Authority, I had a lot more provincial legislation, quite a few actually. right? It wasn't extensive as it was with this, wasn't as extensive as it was with Fraser Health Authority. Yeah, that was a little more extensive. But again, Fraser Health Authority couldn't have done what they did without the assistance of CIBC Bank versa. CIBC Bank couldn't have done what they did without Fraser Health Authority's assistance. Okay? Just like Fraser Health Authority couldn't have done what they did to Shay May's body without the assistance of the RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and the ambulance services, because it was the ambulance and the police who knew that Shimei was dead in the house and had been dead for a while. But they took her body out anyway because basically they're fucking body snatchers that capitalize off of the mayhem and misery that goes on in our communities as, you know, they don't do their jobs. 2,224 people died from related fentanyl deaths in 2021. And if you put a price tag on each person who died in terms of that underground economy between 500,000 to 1 million per dead body, right, you can see that we're going to be getting into the billions and very, very quickly when it becomes a national kind of money-making machine for the white criminals, white-collar criminals in the community to commit crimes. So now I'm going to end this video. I don't know if I can make a PDF file. I think I can. I think I did. I don't know what I can do with it. I don't know how I can upload it or where I can upload it to yet, outside of maybe on the website that I work on. I could probably do that, but as if I've got time. I don't know if I can upload a PDF file onto Google fucking Documents. I can try. I don't know what the end result would be. I'd have to try it first to see if I can even do it. But I went on to BitChute and I opened up another playlist and I called it BitChute Exclusive. So now I'm going to go into all those videos and anything that appears to be deleted off of YouTube and then I upload it onto BitChute, or it's just a BitChute exclusive that's never have been uploaded onto YouTube in terms of anything of relevance, that is. It made me think of other videos that YouTube deleted that related to this kind of stuff. One in particular that I can really think of, and then there's one or two in there that related to Andre that they didn't like what I was having to say because I think it hit really close to home. I mean, obviously it's going to take me a while to find them on my external hard drives. I should have them. But if and when I ever find those videos that YouTube removed because they don't like what I'm saying in terms of when it relates to this stuff, what happened to Andre, what happened to Sierra, what happened to Uncle John, what happened to Shimei, or whatever, I'm going to take those videos that are fucking wherever, I'm going to put them under BitChute exclusives. And if I get a strike for this, I'm going to put this up on YouTube, people, because, you know, this has been an ongoing affair for years and years and years, and this is my evidence for court. I'm just trying to figure out how to present it to the court where the judge can't run away from the truth, basically, and where the judge and the government are going to, you know, have to fucking deal with it. Sooner or later, they're going to have to fucking deal with it. Okay? Even in death, in my death, they're going to have to fucking deal with it. That's what they get paid for, is to root out crime in the community, and they're not rooting it out. They're fostering it. They're hiding it. They're protecting it. They're enabling it to happen. They're profiteering from it. Because what they did to Uncle John was completely uncalled for. Completely fucking uncalled for. What they did, they destroyed a lot of lives. They got Shemaine, as far as I'm concerned, they put her at fucking risk for what happened to her. If they would have let Uncle John make his own fucking decisions and would have stood behind him and said, no, you know, right? Done their proper investigations, if they really felt that I was such a fucking criminal, they should have had me fucking arrested and locked up in jail. Okay? Right? That's what you do, right? That's why I do what I do, because I want the fucking criminals locked up in fucking jail. I'm not just going to sit there and accuse them of shit, okay? I'm going to fight to get them fucking locked up in jail. Right? That's what the lawsuit with Shemay is, because we're calling in the big guns, okay? This is just, you know, this is something for the government that needs to fucking deal with this shit. Right? You right? So, I guess I'll put this up on YouTube, and I guess we're going to see what happens. Right? Is it going to bring me in a strike, people? Is that what's going to happen because they don't want the truth to get out there? Right? Because I read what I wrote, people, what I wrote. And that was dumbed down. What you heard was dumbed down. Okay? Because that's what they try and do. They try and fucking dumb you down. Right? But I'm gonna play with this little PDF that I fucking made here. And if I can get it uploaded to somewhere online somehow, some way, I don't know. I don't know how to do it. Then I'm going to bring out the big one. I think it's 167 pages for CIBC Bank. And even though some of it is a little run-on, you know, I'm repeating myself a couple times over, that's only because I didn't have time to edit it properly. I was still writing it, and my time was running out. I needed another month or two just to hone it down and, you know, and proofread and just whatever. But I had to submit it. So either or, though, it was enough to keep them on their toes. Right? Okay. So I'm going to end this video. That's Joan's wife. Obviously Shemaine, right? This is the one that moved into my house because she didn't want to be abandoned in an old folks home up in Victoria with nobody visiting her. And she asked John if she could move over. John asked me, and I said, fine. Boy, oh boy. And she didn't like me, people, because she was jealous. But at the end of the day, she left John an inheritance. And if you notice, it's Shemay who's with her. You don't see John's family with her. You see my family, Uncle John's family, with her. But yet, for whatever fucking reason, they thought that they could take this woman's money that she left her husband, withhold it from him for 14 months, and then steal it from him because they worked with the government and they used their positions of authority to do it. That's Freddie. That's when Shemay was going to school. That was her boyfriend of 5 years. The one basically that Julian's sister sabotaged. And then Shemay ended up losing her life because of jealousy. Because they came back together, people. Just going through some random pictures.